morning. So this is sunny. This is day 2. And the first day we learned a few things. We're hoping that we can move on from there, establish and build off of what we learned yesterday. One of the things I did with him yesterday was I flapped my stick around very loudly to desensitize him to it and to get him to believe that based on my body language I'm not trying to hurt him. He doesn't have to respond. And so we're going to start with that again today. And by the end of working with him yesterday, as far as the stick was concerned, he had no concern anymore. He did start off alarmed, as they all do, but we'll see what he thinks today. Okay, so I'm not gonna surprise him with it, but he learned to back up yesterday. Okay. So. Let him know by staying was the right answer. So the idea of that is to tell him that unless you see my energy come up with intention, this is nothing. It's just me making a little noise, and he doesn't have to be worried about it. So for right now I'm going to toss that off. But yesterday, as with all the horses I work with, my goal is to be able to put my hand on their forehead and have their nose at least drop to their knees. That indicates to me that we've made some kind of connection. Yesterday he offered to put his nose all the way down to his fetlocks, which was beautiful. So hopefully we get that same response today. He learned how to move his front feet, he learned how to move his back feet, he learned how to back up, he learned how to come to me, he learned how to go out on a circle. He learned that when he asks a question, he's not going to be punished for that. So basically our goal is like when you have an electrical problem in a boat, we got to follow every line until we figure out what's broken, and then we're going to go ahead and see if we can't fix his opinion that's turned him into who he is today. Maybe we'll go ahead and make him a happy guy, right? Sun bothering your eyes? Huh? All right. So again, he learned how to back up yesterday. Back, 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 back. Okay, so I'm letting that be the only effort he puts in, although we will get to a point to where I can wiggle my finger and he'll march backwards until I stop wiggling my finger. Right now it's fine that he's just like, I'm still learning, so please don't push me, so I'm not going to push him. Back, back, back. 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 His reward is that I leave him alone. He had a hard time coming back to me yesterday, so I'm going to invite him back to me and see if I can keep my hands open on the rope and invite him back. Okay. Now I'm starting to grasp the rope, and now I'm going to open him back up as he comes to me. When I stand up, he should know that's far enough. If he takes another step, I'm going to put that foot back. So he learned how to move his front legs by touch. I want his front legs to cross over or behind is fine. Don't want him to walk away. Same thing this direction. He's got an itch at my request. Another one. Cruising right through it. Good job. This direction. Another one. And another. Good job. So let's see where his head goes when I touch his head. So far another horse just came to the fence, so his interest left being connected to me and checking him out. So another thing he learned was how to do all that with just my rhythmic energy, where I don't want to touch him, but I want him to respond. And what I call that, what it eventually turns into, is a turn signal. So if I'm walking along and I want him to suddenly make a hard right, I can go like this at his nose and he'll know to turn. Horses are like airplanes. If you imagine, their nose has to go there first. So if you want him to go that way, you got to get his nose going that way. So I'm going to go ahead and make the best deal possible, which is way out here. And I imagine I'm bouncing a yoga ball on him. So I have that kind of, diameter space here. And I'm going to go ahead and come into his space and suggest he do the same thing with his front legs. Yesterday I ended up having to physically touch him to ask him to move. Today he responded to just the energy. So there he's walking. I'm not going to really call that anything good, so I do it in threes. So now I have to start back off at one because he decided to walk instead of do what I asked. That's good. See if I can rub him to a stop. Okay. I'm going to start off at one again because I don't want him to walk. I might wiggle to stop him. There. That's what I want. So I'm going to give him a second to think on that one so that we can progress from there with two more successful ones and we can move over. So I'm hoping that he'll decide to lick and chew. Again, that other horse just caught his attention. So I'm going to go ahead and move on. Now, his head in that wrong position is not something I'm going to change. I'm going to go ahead and work with the horse no matter what position he's in, because I'm the leader and he needs to understand that. And for me to be the leader means I'm not going to go, hey, tapping him on the shoulder, hey, can you listen to me? I want to tell you something. No, he's going to always be in tune to what I'm telling him to do. For example, I just went like that as an example of what I would do with my hand tapping somebody on the shoulder, and he saw that as a backup cue. So he actually responded properly to that movement. Back, back, back. Good job. Okay, so again, I'm going to ask him to cross his legs over, front or behind. Good. And now I'm going to rub him to a stop. Good job. Okay, so we're going to do the other side. So we're not connecting quite like we did yesterday yet, but that's okay. He's licking and chewing, so that means something for him. Oh, today I have to touch him this direction. It's okay. Rub him to a stop. Hopefully he doesn't keep walking. Wiggle if he keeps walking. Good. So I chose to reposition myself a little bit to kind of rock him back on his hind legs. I'm going to take that today. Good. So now I'm going to ask him to yield his hind end away. And by doing that, I'm going to pretend like I'm looking to see if he's got a butterfly in his tail. So I'm going to tip my head a little bit. I'm going to bring his nose around. Not only does that help him understand to disengage his hindquarters, but it also helps me be prevented from getting kicked by that leg right there. So I'm going to ask him to yield his hindquarters. I'm going to ask him to yield his hindquarters. There, that's better. Now we're getting connected again. Ask him to yield his hindquarters. Okay, gonna do the other side. when I cross in front of a horse, when I change directions, because in a minute I'm going to teach him about mirroring with me, but when I cross in front of a horse and I don't want them to follow me, because I otherwise expect them to go with me wherever I go, I'm going to put my hand on his nose to let him know that he's not to come with me. It's no different than putting my hand on his tail when I cross behind him. Otherwise, but for that reason, that's to just not alarm him that you're crossing. But in this case, it's just to say, please don't follow me. Thank you. Good. Okay. Yield his hind end. I want those legs to cross, so I'm not going to wait until they're... Yield his hind end. Again, I don't care if he's not paying attention. He should be paying attention to me. Good. Yield his hind end again. Good. Good. Okay. So now I'm going to show you that he learned how to be sent but not leave. Meaning, I'm going to tell his front legs what to do from in front of him. I'm going to ask him to back up. Back. 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 Good job. Good job. You're doing good. Good job. Alright, so I'm going to tell his front legs to cross over that direction, but I'm not telling him to go anywhere, because I'm going to kiss if I want him to go somewhere. So I'm not going to give him that kiss cue, which means go. I'm going to just say, can you cross your front feet over there from me standing in front of you, offering you a sense of direction. So I'm going to offer him the sense of direction. I'm going to support. Okay, so I'm going to help him a little bit by moving with him, because I want him to get it. So it's kind of a walk forward. I'm going to tell him, no, we don't go forward, we don't go forward. So I'm going to back him back up where he was. Back. Back. I'm trying to do that as lightly as I can because I don't want to make him wrong for making an effort of some sort. I want him to understand that his efforts are always going to be rewarded if they're somewhat in the direction of what we're trying to do. So I'm going to ask him to go that way again. Kinda. I'm going to try to get a little bit more this time. Good. Okay, I don't want him to walk off. That's not part of it. I didn't tell him to go anywhere. So I'm going to back him back up. Back. 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 Okay, I'm going to ask him to just cross his feet over. Don't leave. So I'm not asking him to leave. You know what? I'm going to take that he's not crossing over, but he's definitely chosen to go in the direction I pointed him in. So I'm going to ask him to go the other way now. This might require him to cross his legs, but I want him to face the other way. I'm going to tell him not to come forward, but to turn. Excellent. Good job. So again, I want him to just turn. I'm not asking him to leave. So I'm telling him where I want him to go, and then I'm allowing him to think it through. I don't want him to leave. I'm going to back him back up because leaving was the wrong answer. So I want to make the wrong answer a little difficult and see if we can't get the right answer. Now this is going to look the same when I tell him to go, but there's going to be one element that's going to be different back. So I'm just helping him find the right answer. I made the wrong answer a little difficult for him. So I'm going to rock him back a little bit more there and see if he can get the right answer this time without leaving. Good. I'm going to give him a break for a second. Yield his hind end. Always use the stuff he knows. Good job. Good job. So again, we're going this direction. I'm telling him where to go. My body has intention. I'm supporting with my other hand. Backup is wrong, but I'm not going to go after him for that. I'm just going to ask him to make the decision to go without going, just turning. Good. Don't go anywhere. Good. So I'm going to do one thing. I'm going to get him to go backwards again and then call him to me again just so I can make sure he understands that the next step I take isn't going to be the same, because I don't want him to be wrong for listening to the non-forward cue. This is what I wanted. So now I'm going to go ahead and ask him to back up. So I'm going to wake him up a little bit because he does know it now. I'm going to ask him to back away from me. So he only responded to me coming with him. Now I'm going to invite him back to me. So clearly, I had to get a little louder than he wanted, but now my grip has changed, and I stand up. That's far enough. Good job. I know, it's hard. All right, so now I'm going to back him up. Back. One more. I'm going to let him rest out there for a second. See how his ears are on me? That's him asking me a question. That's him giving me his true attention, waiting for further instructions. Always look for a horse to do that. Now I'm going to tell him to go that way or that way, left or right, but I'm going to give him an additional cue, which is a kiss. My kiss cue means go. Now what he learned yesterday is that I mean keep going till I tell you otherwise, but if you ask me, is this enough, I'm going to tell you yes, that's a no, or no, that's not enough, please keep going. But I'm not going to get mad at him for asking me a question. I always want him to look to me to ask questions. So I'm going to tell him to go that way, and I'm going to support. Then I'm going to tell him I want him to go. Now his hesitation is because he's not 100% sure to go. He's asking a little bit of a question there. I'm just going to allow him to settle in. He's asking now. I'm just telling him, yep, you're right, keep going. He's going to ask again. I'm going to tell him. So I'm waiting for him to settle in. When he finally starts to kind of just walk with a cadence, I know that he's gotten the idea. He may still ask, is this enough? But he's gotten what I want him to do. He's about to ask me there. So what we learn, it's okay. Just tell him, keep going. So if he does that again there, that becomes a pattern. So let's see if he developed a pattern already. I'm going to give him an opportunity to do it so I can tell him, no, I want you to keep going, because I'd like to break that pattern. Okay, so it's down here now. All right. So I helped him a little bit by showing him my hand, because I didn't want him to keep that pattern going. So after he passes in front of the camera, I'm going to look at his tail. Bump his nose, ask him to disengage his hind end and look at me. I'm going to invite him in one step because he did kind of stop close already, so I just want him to understand when I invite you in, it's to come in, but I don't want him to get any more of my personal space. So now I'm going to ask him to back out. I'm going to point in the direction I'd like him to go, give him a go cue. Now this side is different, so he'll ask questions on this side also. Just help him through it. The first lap, I'll follow him to help him when he asks, so I can be there when he starts to ask instead of wait till he's officially stopped to ask. He's asking now. I'm just going to tell him, yep, you're right, keep going. So I'm not going to tell him to stop where he keeps asking. Right here he's asking. So I'm not going to tell him to stop there. But see how his cadence gets a little bit better there. So now I'm going to say, that's perfect, good job. I'm not going to invite him in yet because I don't want that to automatically mean come in when I stop him. I want him to always stay out there and ask, is this what you want? Then I'm going to invite him in. And stand up means that's far enough. Tell him he's doing a good job. Oh yeah, he learned that yesterday too. He learned how to put his head down on a rain cue. So see if he remembers that today. He did quite well. He actually did it to where he put his nose all the way to the ground, so there wasn't a whole lot we had to build on, so that's great. So hopefully he remembers this today. So the rain cue, if he backs up, I'm just going to go with him. He had a little trouble with it yesterday, learning it, just getting the process right. So the backup is not part of it, so I'm going to actually have to continue, even if he drops his head, continue with him until his feet stop moving too. So see how he's added the backup to it? That's not part of it. So now I'm just going to say, no, that's the wrong answer. That's the wrong answer too. Now try. A little bit more. So the fact that he doesn't automatically drop his nose all the way to the ground tells me he doesn't totally understand it yet. He's licking and chewing, so at least he's registering that he's got some idea. So I'm going to ask him to go further down now, see if I can get him to go down from here without him coming all the way back up. Would be wonderful. Change the height of his head, but give him a second to think about that. Now ask him to go a little bit farther down. My arm's a little sore from yesterday. Enjoying me holding his head up. So it's possible yesterday was a fluke that he wanted to put his head all the way down, and I thought we didn't have anything to build on, but right now he's doing kind of the common to his knees and then kind of getting stuck there. So I might ask him right away while he's still got it totally in his head and see if I can't get his head to go all the way down. So he's looking for it, he's just not realizing there's more to it. Job. So I'm going to let him have a break on that. We're going to do it back up here. Sometimes when you just walk them off, it just gets them kind of disconnected, makes them lick and chew usually, let you know that they kind of connected something with what you just did. Ask him to drop his head again. Now you can always come up with a cue to get them to pick their head back up. My horses, I usually tap them on the withers and makes them pick their head back up. I'm just going to wait on him. I don't need to teach him something else in conjunction with this, so I'm just going to wait on him to pick his head back up so I can tell him to put it back down. Okay, ask him to put his head back down. Further. All the way. Good job. Don't bite the rope, silly. Don't bite the rope. Okay, so that's kind of all he learned yesterday. Today I'm going to teach him where he needs to be when I walk him. This morning he kind of learned it because, well, I had to walk him outside. So I'm going to teach him that we're supposed to, figuratively, this is his hip. I want to be hip to hip with him. So when I walk, he should never have this leg ahead of me, and it should never be far behind me. I want us to where when I need to tell him to turn, I have the right reach to do so. If I need to lead him, I'm not going to pull him on top of me. Okay, so I'm going to show him where he needs to be. I'm going to be very, very particular and insist he catches up or insist he slows down. So I'm going to micromanage a little bit just to be particular. So he runs into me. Wrong answer, got the wrong response. Wrong answer gets difficult. Right answer. So see how he's leading with his shoulder and his head's bent off to the side? That's kind of classic crowd your space, run you over, dominant behavior. So to remedy that, I might give him a little flick in the ribs with the end of my line to send him out off of me. And the cue for that, or the words for that would be, get off of me. Catch up. So I want to be able to stop, have him stop with me. If he doesn't, I'm going to make that wrong answer hard. Try again. So what I did there was I told him you were supposed to stop. You passed me. The wrong answer is very difficult. Passing me was the wrong answer. Oh. So I'm not holding a grudge. Oh. I want him to kind of regret that, but I'm not holding a grudge because we're here to learn. So having to respond to specific cues and then having somebody say, but you did it wrong, you need to learn to do it right and I'll go quiet, was hard for him, but I think we already worked through that. Get up. Get up. Get up. So to help him, I'm going to keep stopping in the same spot just to help him learn a pattern with me so he can Get up. Oh. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. He really didn't mean to pass. But I'm not going to make it real loud. Oh. Because I think it was an accident. I want him so in tune to me like a mom and a baby that if I had to stop right now and pick something up off the ground, that was nice. I love that. What he just did, he was ready to go with me when I leaned forward. That was beautiful. So that's beautiful. Very happy about that. But I want to be able to lean down, pick up something off the ground and not get run over. I want him to be so in tune to my feet that no matter what my feet are doing, he needs to mirror my feet. Based on his interest to kind of get a little bouncy for a second there and strike out, I'm not going to tell him to trot beside me yet. But my main goal would be to eventually be able to have him cantering right next to me as I pretend to canter next to him. Today I think we'll work on the walk and work on the hoe, because we don't need to take the energy up if we're not mastering it at the walk. Good job. Now catch up though. Good job. Up, up. Up. I'm going to ask him to back up. Back. Back. I'm going to ask him to get back beside me. Now, I'm not punishing him for not backing up straight because he doesn't have rail on his side. And he doesn't know he's supposed to stay straight. Ideally, I want to be able to go like this and have us back up together. So, another thing he has to learn is a turn on the rail, which is when I ask him to change directions. So I'm going to take him over to the rail and I'm going to teach that to him, and that's going to help him for changes of direction.